and hopefully we can all see that. Okay. During the COVID dilemma, I've kept busy with my clients, but also writing one book and 4 different publications, of which one is this one, Fish for Health. It covers an important topic, which is the one closest to my heart. So this is Fish for Health, Improve Nutritional Quality of Cultured Fish for Human Consumption. It's important that everybody realize that the food that we eat, whether we're rich or whether we're poor, affects our health and our well-being. On our planet at the moment, hunger and malnutrition still kill more people and cause more suffering on Earth than any other ailment. We have a problem of undernutrition, where people do not have sufficient food. And then we have a problem in other countries of overnutrition and obesity. And so with my work with FAO was very much linked to the issues of undernutrition, malnutrition, and how fish can help people live a healthier life. But if we look at undernutrition and hunger, you can see that most of the countries are in the South-South neighborhood, including many African countries and also other countries in Asia and Latin America. At the same time as undernutrition, well, sorry, just to emphasize the point, we have over 777 million people that are chronically undernourished. 6.6 million children die every year with issues related to undernutrition. 2.8 billion people suffer from specific nutrient deficiencies, including anemia from iron deficiency, brain damage from iodine deficiency, zinc or vitamin A blindness. Again, the most vulnerable people tend to be pregnant, lactating women, and above all children within, especially within developing countries and low-income food deficit countries. At the same time as this problem of undernutrition, we also have this problem of malnutrition and obesity, basically due to overnutrition. And with the problems it brings, including obesity, coronary heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. And the main reason for this is mainly due to the consumption of lower cost fast foods, and to a less extent red meats and dairy produce, and a more sedentary lifestyle. Fast food basically refers to food items that can be prepared and served quickly and include processed red meat products like hot dogs, hamburgers, sausages, bacon, ham, spam, processed and refined carbohydrates, biscuits, cookies, donuts, pancakes, muffins, crackers, bread, pizza, pasta. Fried foods are French fries, hash browns, fried chicken, fried nuggets, chicken nuggets, and also our appetite for sugary drinks and sweets and ice cream. All these are fast foods. All these are linked with our problems related to obesity. And the main reason why we have this trend for obesity and overnutrition and overweight is because most of the fast foods are lower cost and affordable. The portion sizes are bigger. It's very convenient, and obviously it's taste and accessibility. But again, the most important point to remember here is that it's all about cost, lower cost and affordability. And when we see the epidemic of obesity and coronary heart disease and diabetes, it's mainly due to the consumption of these products. And so in terms of numbers, obesity, it is a global pandemic. Cardiovascular diseases account for over 17.8 million deaths annually. Cancers cause about 9 million deaths annually, and diabetes alone 1.6 million deaths. and all the associated ailments that they bring. In terms of numbers, the incidence of overweight increases with age. We have 40 million preschool children overweight, 131 school-age children overweight, over 207 million adolescents, and over 2 billion adults that are overweight. And if you look at the obesity rates, you can see at the top of the chart, this is from OECD. The US, Mexico is on the top of the chart. And we have Japan and Korea. Japan is a country that has one of the highest life expectancies in the world. But as we will see later, the Japanese also consume much more fish than all the terrestrial meats combined. But again, this is just a chart of those countries and the obesity rates. As I said, also we have a taste for sugar. And again, a lot of the problems that we have related to diabetes are due to the high intakes of sugar that we take either directly or indirectly within our sugary drinks. And here I've just put in a few countries at the top: Colombia, the USA, consuming between 74 and 65 kilograms of sugar and sweeteners per year per capita. Up to 16 to 90% of the total calories that they consume is in the form of sugar. At the other extreme, you have China, Bangladesh, Nigeria, where the consumption of sugar is still quite low. Again, it's important to look at the total calories as well and the proportions. But you can see here, Japan consume about 25 kilos of sugar per year, 8.9% of the total calorie intake. But you can see that their calorie intake is quite lower compared to other countries. And so that's the dilemma. And so now we're looking at fish as a potential healthier alternative in terms of human nutrition. Whether it's farmed or whether it comes from the sea, it's fished. From a nutritional perspective, it's a much healthier alternative than especially processed foods and terrestrial meat products. If you just look at this chart shows various aquatic products compared with terrestrial products here. Aquatic products have a lower energy level. They tend to have a lower energy density. They have a higher protein content, and the fats present are normally of the omega-3 type. It's DHA, it's EPA, the heart healthy type. Terrestrial products, even though they have a lower moisture content, they have obviously a higher energy content. They have a lower protein content compared to most to most aquatic products. And also most of the fats present are saturated fats of the omega-6 type. And so if you look at fish, it really is like a superfood. It's not just it has EPA or DHA, it has fatty acids. It's also a source of calcium, phosphorus, selenium, iodine, vitamin A. It contains most of the nutrients that we need, and also most of the nutrients that we have problem with in the world, whether it's vitamin A, whether it's iodine, whether it's iron. It really is a product that has all these nutrients inside it. And also, if we look at seaweeds, seaweeds are not seaweeds. They are sea vegetables, aquatic vegetables. If you look at the nutrition content, you go to any Japanese restaurant, you will find most of these products there. The Japanese have known for a long time the nutritional value of these products in terms of the amino acids present, the fatty acids present, source of fiber, source of essential minerals. Again, one of the main producers of seaweeds in the world from aquaculture is China. The main reason why they produce so much is as a source of iodine. Iodine is a major cause of brain damage, and so it's an important nutrient. So again, the important thing is just to mention that aquatic plants are also important. The reported health benefits of consuming fish and fishery products are various, including reduced risk of death from coronary heart disease and stroke, reduced risk of diabetes, increased duration of gestation and improved visual and cognitive development, improved neurodevelopment in infants and children when fish is consumed before or during pregnancy, and a reduced risk of thyroid cancer in women through seaweed consumption, for example. But at the same time, it's also important to say that there are also health risks from fish and seafood, depending on how it's processed. There's a risk from the consumption of raw and unprocessed fish and seafood products contaminated with pathogenic organisms like parasites, nematodes, cestodes, trematodes, bacteria, and toxins. And so these risks exist, but most of these risks can be eliminated through proper cooking and handling. But then the other area are risks from the presence of environmental contaminants. Again, this depends on the species and the origin, but these may include heavy metals, mercury, arsenic, cadmium, persistent organic pollutants, what we call the POPs, PCBs, dioxins, veterinary drug residues, and microplastics. Again, one of the papers in our presentation today will deal with microplastics. Yeah, and microplastics are present everywhere, including a lot of the fish that we're consuming from the sea. But notwithstanding these risks, according to FAO and the World Health Organization, the potential nutritional value and potential health benefits derived from increased fish consumption far outweigh the potential negative risks to human health. Okay, and so the important thing is why fish, in many developing countries, fish is one of the cheapest sources of animal protein and essential nutrients. You go to most Asian countries, fish is the cheapest form of protein that's available, even if it's toyo or dried fish. It's nutritionally speaking, it's so good for you. And if you look at countries in the world, you look at Asian countries, Asia is responsible for over 90% of aquaculture production. Over 23% of the animal protein they consume is from fish and seafood. In Africa, the same, even though the per capita consumption is very small, because the animal protein intake in Africa is quite low, fish, again, plays a very, very important part. And this table here below shows you various countries and the contribution of fish and seafood to total animal protein supply. And you can see that for many Asian countries, over 50% of the animal protein intake is fish, and African countries too. Okay, and so when we look at the world chart, we can see at a global level, fish and seafood represent the third source, or the second source of animal protein after consumption of milk, more than poultry, more than pig or other terrestrial meats. If we look at Asia, it's the same. 23% of the protein that we consumed is from fish. And then we go to other regions. In African regions, okay, the consumption on a per cap basis is low, but in terms of protein supply, it's very, very important. Again, much higher than the terrestrial meat products. If we look in South America, it's the reverse, and these are countries where we have this epidemics of obesity, of coronary heart disease, because of the types of products we consume. You can see that the meat products are much higher, and then fish and seafood very much lower down. If we look at North America, exactly the same. In terms of calorie intake, very high. In terms of fish intake, very high, but because they consume so much other sources of animal protein, the contribution of fish in the diet is quite low. In Central America, the same problem. And in Europe, much the same as in North America and these other countries. And Oceania as well. And so aquaculture is coming along. Aquaculture is 115 million metric tons of product. It's a sector that's growing 5.6% per year. Capture fisheries is static. If we look at the total supply of fish and seafood, whether it comes from capture fisheries or aquaculture, we have 136 million tons of fish, 15 million tons of crustaceans, 33 million tons of algae, and 24 million metric tons of mollusks. As I said, the aquaculture is an Asian phenomenon. Over 91% of production is coming from Asia. China is big, it's hungry, and how are we going to feed our people? Not today, but tomorrow. And obviously fish is an important part of their diet, but also you can see in the other major aquaculture producing countries like Indonesia, India, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Philippines, Korea. In Africa too, aquaculture is growing very well. The largest producer there is Egypt. We have the Nile, and the second largest producer is Nigeria. People like to consume fish. But obviously not all fish are created equal. The nutritional composition of a fish or a mollusk or a crustacean and its potential health value depends on numerous factors, including the species and what are the part of the fish is consumed, whether it's the fillet, the head, whole fish, or just the offal. The source of the fish is also important, whether it's wild, whether it's farmed, whether it comes from a recreational fishery, whether it comes from marine waters or fresh waters. The country of origin is also important, and the method of production. The method of cooking prior to consumption is also important, whether it's steamed, whether it's fried, whether it's smoked. And if it's farmed, we need to know the nutritional composition of the feed that we use to produce it. And so from a nutritional perspective, I'm a nutritionist, we know that, that through nutrition, through diet, we can also manipulate the composition of the fish or the product to tailor to the needs of the consumer. Just like we do here with milk, where we can produce milk and we add DHA to that milk to improve the nutrition to our children. So we can do the same with aquatic products. And by doing also, we can improve the nutrient level, and also we can reduce the contaminant levels. And so this is in marked difference to wild fish. With wild fish, the problem is we cannot do anything about the contaminant levels within the fish. But with farmed fish, we can. We can reduce the levels of contaminants depending on how we're feeding them, but also we can maximize the nutritional benefits, particularly of things like the heart healthy, I'm looking at my time so I don't go over, the heart healthy polyunsaturated fatty acids. And so again, various trials have been done with salmon, with catfish, with tilapia, with shrimp, where we have been able to improve the fatty acid profile of the farm product through dietary manipulation. But also we can do that with other nutrients too. It has been shown with iodine, with selenium, with vitamin E. It's possible to improve their nutritional value. Already, if you remember, fish and seafood is already a much healthier alternative to most processed foods and terrestrial meat products. But also through fortification, we can even make them even better. And also in terms of the contaminant levels, we can reduce the level of ingredients which are potentially contaminated with these environmental contaminants. One of the problems is that we treat our sea as our toilet, and most of the effluents eventually end up in the sea, and many of these contaminants end up increasing through the food chain. But again, this is an important point. At the moment, the levels in our products are not so high, but they are increasing, including the presence of microplastics within the pelagics and the fish meal that we use in our feeds too. And so this is my nearly finished. So we really have to communicate our message to the consumer. And that is that we have to increase public awareness and understanding about the potential health benefits of increased fish and seafood consumption. And the fact that we need to put fish in our food pyramids in a healthy diet. At the moment, this is not done. We have a problem normally between capture fisheries and aquaculture sometimes fighting together, but we have a product that from a nutritional perspective, it's really, really important. And so we really have to promote their increased use as a more healthier alternative. Also, we have to take a leaf out of the processed foods book, and that is, if you look at processed foods, the reason why they are consumed to such high levels is because they are cheap and they are affordable. We have to do the same with aquaculture products, and that is not just produce fillets and high-end products, but also to produce fish balls, fish hamburgers, fish sticks, which are affordable and tasty and attractive to our children as well. And so one of the papers that I have I've written recently during the COVID is this paper, Fish for Health, which this paper with this presentation summarizes. And also we've written a few proposals. This is for a project in Brazil. In Brazil, we have aquaculture is about 700,000 tons of product. If you say aquaculture to most Brazilians, they will say, no, it's not really important. What's important is producing chicken and beef and other terrestrial products. But if you talk about the epidemic of obesity and coronary heart disease and the amount of money spent on healthcare or dental caries, that people understand. And so this is a project. The aim is really to promote the increased use of farm fish and seafood as a more healthier alternative. The product has 6 parts. First of all, a market survey of what people are consuming, looking at the nutrient composition of the food and the major aquatic food products, looking at the variability of these products, whether they're locally produced or whether they are imported, looking at techniques to improve the nutritional value of these products, like tilapia, like shrimp, for example, but also looking at processes of how to use the byproducts that come from aquaculture and improving the utilization of these products so that we can feed our children with these byproducts as well in the form of fast food type products. Also, we have a genetic segment in the product in the project there to also improve, because through genetics we can also improve the various traits related to nutritional factors. And then finally, last but not least, we have to increase this public awareness and understanding about fish is a very, very healthy product. It's not just an expensive product. We can also make products which are tailored to the needs of people. And so with that, that's my last slide. I'm sorry that I may have gone over my time, but I really just wanted to highlight the importance of fish in terms of human nutrition and as a healthier alternative to some of these other products that we are consuming. So with that, thank you very much.